All right, guys, we're back. It's the Fearless Pursuit of Freedom podcast, and today's guest is an entrepreneur out of California, and he's got quite a bit going on, and we're just going to dive right in and see what he's doing, why he's doing it, and where he plans on going in the future. Welcome, Dustin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So how long have you been in the entrepreneur space here, you think?
I think I started my first business when I was around 25. I'm 38 now, so it's been a little while.
Yeah, and what was that one?
I was a locksmith business. It was a roadside assistance for like AAA, which basically it was a job that I owned, so I had more responsibility and stuff. It wasn't the greatest. I was on call 24/7. It was a horrible experience, to be honest with you. It's taught me a lot on how to make a business be able to survive without me moving forward. So it was a good learning experience, but it was a horrible first business.
Yeah, no, I that's what I thought. I used to own a carpet cleaning franchise. Same thing. I was like, oh, I'm going to have so much freedom. I'm going to be rolling in money. And I got in there. I was working 7 days a week, 12, 16-hour days. Like, man, I just worked myself into a pain-in-the-ass job is all I did.
Yeah.
But you still own that company? Have you been able to get employees and stuff? Or
Well, that original one, no. I shut it down, actually, to move. I was in Fresno, California. I shut it down and moved back to Sacramento to partner up with the guy who actually taught me to be a locksmith, because we both were doing the same thing and felt the same way about it. Mm-hmm. So we had an idea to, still in the same world as far as doing automotive locksmith stuff, but we had an idea to change it to a job where we could have weekends off, be off at 5 o'clock, which is unheard of for locksmiths, but it required me to be an employee again in pretty much every sense of the word. We did partner up, but we had to have the structure set up to where, there's one boss. So it was him and then me. So I had to kind of start going back to doing what I was told, have, the crappy jobs he didn't want to do and stuff. So I did have to take a pay cut, humble myself a little bit, and be an employee again for a while to get it going. But
yeah,
he unfortunately passed away, and I have that business now, but we're in 49 states. I think we grossed $3 million last year, and I get off at 5 o'clock. If I even have to go into the office, I get off at 5 o'clock. I don't ever work weekends. So it definitely paid off, and I don't have to do what I don't want to do is the greatest part of it. So
right, yeah. So you're in 49 states. Are you just contracting out through other companies, or you be franchised, or?
Well, we work with auto auctions. So we have contracts with a couple of larger nationwide auto auctions, and they're in every state. For some reason, I can't get anybody in North Dakota to order from me, so I could say all 50 states. But
no, that's awesome, though. Yeah. Well, pretty soon will be world domination coming up.
I'm working on it.
So you've been in locksmithing a long time, but you're in 3 other spaces, another one in the auto industry and detailing. Actually, I detailed for like 4 years in my early 20s, and it was pretty cool, but none of those 9-to-5 things. So it was just a pain, and I was really good at it. But yeah, tell us what you're doing over there.
Okay, so I got into that. I read PJ from Secret Entourage's book, Radius, and it talks about using customers you already have or resources you already have to start another line of income. So just in my local area, I work with like some of the car sale lots and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I have an empty warehouse during the day when all my locksmith trucks are out running around doing stuff. So I went to all those auto dealers and got them to send me the cars to wash. And then I had an empty warehouse to wash them in. So it was really low overhead to start and built-in customer base already to where I think we're just under $100,000 for the first year on that one. So it's going pretty good so far, and I haven't really had to put a whole bunch of money out other than just covering the employees' pay while things were getting set up. But now it's self-sustaining and everything. So kind of just trying to keep my money coming in from different areas. I mean, I don't technically wash all the cars there. I washed cars when I was a kid at car dealerships and stuff, but I just got people to do it for me. So it's not one I'm super hands-on with. I have a partner who runs the day-to-day part of it. So it's just one where it made sense with the customers I already had for the locksmith stuff.
Yeah. No, it makes great. I mean, I don't think I can do that in my business, but it's got me thinking, what should I do? And I always write down these books. So I'm going to go, I got a freaking stack of books I need to catch up on, but
Yeah.
that's great. And I'm sure that the name Radius was because he influencing his current circles, like you said.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
and he has the first one's Third Circle Theory. Should read that one and then read Radius next.
Third Circle.
They're on Audible too, if you like Audible.
It's way better.
I do that in traffic and listen to it.
Yeah. Speaking of the auto industry, are you going to get into dent repair?
No, we've partnered up with a dent repair guy. So he sends us details and that kind of stuff. He comes in and does our stuff. He's probably the best guy in town.
Yeah.
And the only problem with him is for him to put his name on it, it has to be 100% perfect, where sometimes our customers are, I'll just make it look good. So we've worked out a deal where he'll come in, he'll fix the dent as good as it can be if it's a big one. And then we just won't say who did it. We'll just say we contract out that work, that kind of stuff, because he's such a perfectionist.
Yeah.
That he doesn't want his name attached to him. I'm like, fine, I'll tell him I did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's good. You got somebody that's the best in the West, and then it's always good to have that relationship. But I got a buddy out in northern Arizona who started out in windshields, did tint, and now he's gotten into this space of real estate where I'm at. But it seems like the auto industry, a lot of the guys that I know are doing, like, they start out on wheels, then they get into the tires, and then it turns into a tint shop, and then it turns into a wrap company, and then it turns. Right. So it's genius, really. But I've never been good at working on cars, so I'll never be in that space. But maybe I'll invest in one of them.
I'm not that great at it either, but you just got to find someone who is, who's afraid to start their own business and start it with them.
Yeah, definitely. And then with your income, you're buying rental properties, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. So I met someone who's in that world, Todd Fleming, and he kind of I got lucky enough that he knows, it seems like, everything there is to know about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's, he's always learning, but he really broke it down for me, where I told him I was busy with all my other businesses, so I can't solely focus on just real estate. And he kind of broke it down to where if I put just some of my money I'm making from these other places into rental properties, and I do them with the right properties the right way, I can just have a steady stream of passive income coming in, to where I don't really have to do much, because I have a management company taking care of placing and evicting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, it just, you get a check. Like, I just picked one up this morning from a house I own in Pennsylvania. Like, so I'm setting that up into account. I don't touch it. It's just kind of the retirement account.
Yeah, no, it's smart. Yeah. I mean, I'm full-time into real estate, but I've oftentimes thought about, and this is kind of why I started this podcast, is, I'm always brainstorming new ideas, but I like to have some other form of income to put back into real estate. And I think it's genius, because it's lifelong wealth. I mean, 30 years when that thing's paid off, or 20 years or whatever, then you got all that equity and still got the cash flow coming in, and then eventually just walk away from everything and sell it all.
Yeah, they're not making more land, so the more of that you can own, the better.
Yeah, definitely. And then you're into digital marketing.
Yeah, so I'm just getting that one going, and it's basically anytime you read the business book or whatever, they say sometimes just if you have the problem, somebody else is probably having the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried a couple of different people to grow social media for my separate businesses and myself personally. And they're fake followers, or they just don't work right. You know what I mean? They're not pushing your vision for your business. They're just throwing garbage up and trying to. So I'm working with, we're partnering up. We're finding someone who can run the day-to-day part with it, but just to help business owners, or someone who's like me, who owns multiple businesses. So not only do you need each individual business to have its own following and everything, but personally, I need mine so that I have an easier time if I'm trying to get an investor or something like that for real estate. They can find something about me to see who I am without me just having to tell them. Right. So we're trying to figure out the best way. We're making it so an entrepreneur-based social media growth type of thing, to where it'll be all of the accounts you have in one umbrella and grow them individually with actual people. So you get engagement and you get like legit growth out of it.
Yeah. So this is all on social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, that stuff.
Yeah, that's where it's going to start because that's, as a small business owner, that's the easiest way to get your word out there. I mean, we've been experimenting with some Facebook ads and stuff, and I just use my account personally so I don't mess something up business-wise just because I'm playing around.
Yeah.
And I mean, for like $7, I've reached like 10,000 people or something. So we're just experimenting with different ways to get that growth the best way.
Yeah. No, social media it's beyond powerful. I mean, a lot of people don't realize it. I mean, I wouldn't be much of anywhere if I didn't have social media. I wouldn't have met my lenders, anybody within my network that has taught me what I know and where I've, whatever. But I mean, I got 4,980 friends right now on Facebook, and I maybe pay attention to 20 of them, but I wouldn't know who those 20, super successful people are without social media. I mean, there's no way I could network enough to meet all these people. It's impossible.
Yeah. Well, we're starting. So that's why we're starting there, and we'll branch out to, broader areas as well. It's just, it's really focused a lot on small business entrepreneurs first. And then, as they grow, we're going to need to be able to help them grow more. So start, focus there. We really need to be able to nail it down to like show results. And then from there, we'll grow to the bigger stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said you're going to have people interacting all day. Yeah. That's super powerful because I do all my social media myself, and I've thought about outsourcing it, like a lot of my back end stuff with real estate, but it's hard to get somebody to do the daily communications with your network, because then you just look fake if you're just posting random stuff all day.
Yeah, and don't engage with anybody, answer the questions when they come in, or so it's. Yeah, I haven't found one yet. I've tried a couple of companies. They just don't work the way I want. So we're trying to grow what I was looking for. So I'm not going to rush it and do just another one of those silly ones. We're going to take our time and make it be something that I would pay for.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a ton of people out there saying they're social media gurus, and then all they're doing is just taking your $200 in an ad and then doing the broadest reach possible. And then they're saying, hey, we reached 1 million people today. But
doing the follow little groups and silly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I've thought about that, but at the end of the day, I'm like, man, who is this person really? And then
I actually cut a bunch of those out on my stuff just because the more I get into it, you realize even if your number's smaller, if the percentage of people following you are engaging and liking and doing whatever you're doing, you get more return. So you might not look as good on the surface with that, that K after your name or whatever, but if you're getting more engagement than somebody with 50,000 followers, what's it matter? Because you're getting more for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I've been weeding out my friends list lately to people that I don't think could benefit me or my following within. I was trying to stay local, but now I'm heading nationwide with realtors and stuff. But you got to make sure the people that you're following are going to be beneficial to yourself and your vision where you're going. Otherwise, it's wasted.
Right.
Friend space, I guess you can call it. But well, we've gone through all four of them, but it seems like locksmith is like your main deal there. Let's step back a little bit and see and figure out, determine what were all the struggles and the hurdles you had to come through or jump over to get where you are. I mean, that was 13 years ago you got in a locksmith, and then now you're grossing $3 million a year. How'd you scale to 49 states?
So that's the thing. We kind of did something that wasn't really done in our industry the way we did it. So there's a couple of really big locksmiths, and they're owned by like multi-million-dollar companies. Like one of them's, I think, now up to $1 billion company that owns it. And they have like 400 employees and trucks all over the place. And it's just a huge expense going out all the time. So we couldn't grow that way. So we had to really come up with a way to have the same reach they do without actually needing to have that much money to do it. Right. And so there's a lot of trial and error, and you got to be able to adapt. That's whenever anyone ever asks me what my number one thing I can do is I can adapt quickly to problems or benefits that we see pop up. And surprisingly to me, locksmiths, because the way let's start with this. The way our system went, instead of hiring hundreds and hundreds of locksmiths in every city, is we call locksmiths in every city and we partner up with them and give them their piece, our piece. We get a smaller piece, but they work for us there basically as an independent contractor.
Yeah.
And we provide them with the information they need to get the work done, because generally speaking, all we do is work with cars, hundreds of cars every day. So we know more than the general locksmith would. So we give them like basically free tech support to work with us. And it worked pretty good, but locksmiths are greedy guys just in general.
Right. Yeah.
And they're always trying to stab you in the back. And so that's the biggest thing. We're constantly having to adapt to somebody thinking what you have, they should get. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing, but we organically grew it. We started local, just the auction here. It's like, can you make a key for this? We're like, yeah, of course. And we got all those done. And then, could you go, because San Francisco is like an hour and a half away. They're like, can you go over there and do them? We're like, of course. And then, can you do some here? And we're like, yeah. And I mean, never once actually knowing if we could go do any of the stuff they're asking, but our answer was always yes.
Right.
And then just figure it out from there. That's why I said you have to adapt to what opportunity gets put in front of you. But the right person was visiting the right yard at the right day and saw us doing some stuff that nobody else could do. He was a corporate guy, and it kind of just suddenly got a call from the corporate office asking us if we could do it on the East Coast. And we're like, sure, no problem.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so that's it. It grew that way. No one else does it that way still. It is a lot of a headache to deal with that many different businesses all over, but I also don't have a payroll tax of 300 employees.
Yeah, and that's awesome. So you're still going in a lot of the days. I mean, 49 states is a lot to manage, a lot of contracts, a lot of paperwork, everything.
I've got it pretty systemized down now to where I'm not required for much of the daily stuff. I make the joke all the time if I go to trade shows or something that tell everyone I'm a locksmith, but I haven't made a key in probably a year now. Yeah. So the only ones I make are the stuff that's broken, or I have talked to someone on the phone, tell them how to do something when they're in New Jersey.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. I mean, that's what I think. I wouldn't say most, but I'd say a good portion of entrepreneurs, they're trying to figure out a way to work themselves mostly out of the business. That's pretty cool. You've figured it out for the most part. At least you haven't made a key in a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird that I took pride in a sense for a long time that the business would fail without me. You know what I mean? And until my business partner passed away, and then it just kind of opened my eyes. Like, maybe you could make this, put a timetable on the end of me. I have kids, I have some other stuff. So I really then focused really hard on, I don't want to miss the kids stuff anymore. I can't tell you how many times before that I was like, I got to work, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And now I never say that. So I don't want to be that valuable to my business anymore. So I've really worked hard on training people, putting together a system to where they can find answers. I have videos on how to do anything I know how to do that's sort of unique to me just knowing how to do. I have videoed and put it on private on YouTube and provided them links with it. So unless there's a really big problem, I don't even get bothered with it, to where I can focus on, some of those other businesses I started and have been growing. Because before that, I didn't have time.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So I've got virtual assistants in the Philippines running a lot of my back end, my marketing, my cold calling, all that stuff. And the same way, is instead of trying to train every single one independently, I just started recording videos from the very first one. And so now every time I have a new task, I'll say, here, refer to this video, just add this step, and then we're golden. So I can add just about any new task into the company with the videos I've made so far, and it just makes everything so much easier. And they can always refer back to it instead of having to call me or something.
Yeah, and I've set mine up now in because Google Docs just came out with team folders and some stuff you can do. So each training video is now in its own folder with a description of what it is. And anytime someone has a question, I just have a document there. I put their question, I put the answer, and that way, if they can read through those too before they even got to bother trying to track me down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot with organization parts and them not, because they get this weird thing where they don't want to bother me, so they waste too much time. So now, like, if this doesn't answer it, then just get a hold of me then, because.
Right. No, I get that. I mean, when I had my carpet company, I just recently sold it about, I don't know, a month or so ago. But for the past 3 years, I've been in Texas. I've been out of state. The franchise was in Northern Arizona, so I had to move. I had to train somebody before I left to start running the company. And for a while, I was answering on the phone still, dealing with all the problems. And then I finally got a call center to take all the phone calls. So then now it wasn't scheduling. But that was the same thing with him. Is he would call me an hour into a job and try to tell me all these problems. Like, man, if you would just call me the second it was going on, we could have been wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and on to the next job. But I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess it's I guess a little bit of pride inside. They don't want to bother us. They want to be able to figure out themselves. And I don't know. But I ran into the same thing. Best tech in the world. I mean, the nicest guy, best customer service, but would always wait about an hour before and struggling through trying to figure it out when a phone call, I'm like, oh, it's exactly what it is right there. Looking for this. And he's like, dang, I didn't even think about that. But I never got it. But
yeah, for me, I just feel like that means I missed something on training to where I made them think I'm not available for that. Just because I have other stuff going on, this doesn't mean I'm not here for this. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I should be here for, is solving those problems quickly so you can move on. So I keep retraining them that is what you bother me with. You don't bother me if an employee called in sick. You bother me for that.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Yeah. Bring it back to yourself, and it's a training issue. That's great. Perfect leader right there.
Well, I'm working on it. I don't know about that, but
no, that's what everybody says. Leaders got to look at himself first to figure out what's going on instead of blaming it on others. And that's
right.
Perfect. So anything else besides these 4 businesses here? Anything in the future you plan on doing?
I think my biggest downfall and benefit is I'm always finding new things I want to start a business on. And then more than other people, actually planning them out and sometimes implementing them. I am huge on taking action. I don't want to be that guy who sits there and says, I had that idea, I didn't act on it. So I actually take action more than most, I think, sometimes for the negative. I'll try stuff all the time to see if it works.
Yeah.
Because I learn on the fly a lot. So I'll just get a basic plan and implement it before I even really know if it's going to work. And then as it happens, I try to adapt. If it doesn't work, I'm also quick to shut it down.
Yeah.
So I have constant, I'm looking at maybe doing larger purchases on houses for Airbnb, that kind of stuff, really high end stuff. And I love cars and higher horsepower cars and stuff. I'm looking at buying a chunk of land, paving it, and just opening it for people to film doing stuff with their car without fear of police bothering them or having pedestrians in the way or something. Right. So anytime I have a problem, I try to figure out a way to make a business for it. So
yeah, like a big old Gymkhana track without having to shut down San Francisco.
Basically, something like that, where it's just a chunk of land that's got nice pavement. I'll set up high definition cameras everywhere to where you can purchase the video from me too, and you don't have to worry about setting your own cameras up.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great plan. I've always envisioned something like that. I envisioned 200 acres out in the middle of nowhere, and it's got a boat drag strip. It's got a circuit track. It's got a typical road drag strip, and a place where you can go fly your RC helicopter and land your private plane on. Just like man haven in the middle of nowhere. Where you just pay a yearly membership to and just go drive a Ferrari for a day, and that's all. I mean, one day we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, one day.
I thought that as well. But that's awesome. And so as far as your real estate, with your Airbnb, it made me think of a guy that I know, Casey. His name is Casey. He's down in San Antonio. but he buys those higher end Airbnbs as well on lakes. And he has one property that sleeps like between 38 and like 52 people or something.
Oh, wow.
And he's got like a monthly revenue of about 60 grand off that thing. And so they'll hold like huge events and big old family reunion stuff there. So that's his model. And I think he has like 10 luxury properties now or something. So he's got to be pulling in like, I don't know, $400,000 a month on these things. And he's been able to figure out a way to bring in private investors and fund almost all of it, if not all of it, through the down payment or through the banking or however he did it. But it's all Airbnbs, and he's still a little bit in the day to day, but he figured out how to make a boatload of money every month off of luxury properties and not having too much money out of property.
Yeah, my wife's really the one that's my style's a little bit different. You can tell from the office behind me. It's the jumble of colors and craziness, but she's the one who's really pushing that one forward. She's looking in like Napa Valley for the wine country, wedding rentals, all kinds of stuff. So she's really pushing forward on that. It just sounds like a good idea to where I'm like, yeah, bring me the ideas, and I'll help you push them forward. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, just right up the road from you, so it makes a lot of sense. Just put like a little Tuscany villa on the hills, and either buy another winery nearby or contract a winery, and they can bring in taste test or wine tasting in the evenings and stuff. That'd be sweet. It's a good idea.
I'm going to do that now.
No, I wouldn't do that. I like the Airbnb model, but my thing is storage units and mobile home parks. Something where there's very low maintenance and management, and just more hands off is my push right now.
I really want to get into storage units, so I'll have to pick your brain on that sometime. As far as like, it's weird. All the owners of them, they don't really want to tell you like what to expect for the vacancy rates and stuff like that. So one time I want to talk to you about that and just get some more details.
Yeah, I'll have to find out what number he was, but I interviewed a guy named Michael Wagner, and he does storage units full time. I'll have to find the interview. I think it's like 11 or something, but so he does full time. He owns 3 units, and his passive income is what did he say? Like 300 grand a year off of 3 properties, or no, it might have been 400. I forget what it is now, but he's doing great. He doesn't seem stressed at all. Spends all the time in the world with his family and goes traveling and just buys storage units when he can. But
nice.
It's a great model, I think, and I've got my VAs working on it right now, and so we're sending out mail campaigns, and it's my number one push right now. But yeah. I cold call them now, and every time they answer the phone, I'm like, "Hey, I'm Brandon, and I'm a flipper, blah blah blah. I want to buy your storage units." They're like, "No, I'm not selling." I'm like, "Damn."
That's a good thing, right? That means you're going in the right area if no one wants to sell what you're trying to get into.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll find them, and right now I'm only searching around the Dallas area, but we'll end up going nationwide. I'll just start picking cities around the country, and I'll just start scrubbing the list and mailing and cold calling, and we'll just expand that way. But
nice.
Yeah,
I'm lucky. I most of my real estate stuff, like Todd I mentioned earlier, Todd Fleming, I've partnered up with him on everything, so I don't have the struggles most people have starting out. So I make the joke that I jumped all the mistakes people make in real estate because he's already made them, and he'll be like, no, you don't want to do that.
Right. Well, that's perfect. I mean, anybody that's getting into real estate or any industry is find somebody that's already doing it and then latch onto them.
Right.
Granted, they allow it, of course, but I literally just finished his book this morning. I've been wholesaling for almost 18 months now, but his book is like, holy crap, there's stuff in here I had no idea, and I've been doing this for this long. So he's an incredibly smart guy, and you're buying notes off of him, but he was putting first and second lien positions on retail buyers and getting cash flow for the next 20, 30 years. I'm like, what? That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff he's doing, right? Yeah. He tells me all the time, I'm like, how did you manage that?
Yeah. But it sounds easy enough. The concept easy. I mean, there's no reason in the world why you can't do it, because banks do it all the time. I mean, you go and get an FHA loan for a first-time home buyer, and they don't have a down payment. FHA is going to put a second lien on the back end of the note, and it's like, boom, that's exactly what Todd just did.
Right.
So it's crazy. But it's, back to the where this conversation, every time I get talking about real estate, I just go off on little tangents. But no, it's perfect because, like, let's say I wanted to go get into locksmithing, but I wanted to do something out here in Dallas. I'd go find you and figure out what you did and how we can partner up to figure it
Right.
out. And that's another reason I started this podcast is not only can people benefit from what I'm learning and what I know, they can come talk to me, but now they can go talk to other people in the entrepreneur world, which is why I didn't stick to real estate only, because my brain's like this all day. It's like
Yeah, mine does
going bonkers, the squirrel thing. So I'm thinking about the exotic cars. I'm like, man, I know this guy renting out his McLaren today for like $1,200. I should go buy a McLaren. And then I was over here like, man, my buddy owns a glass company. I should go start a glass company. This seems hard, but if I find someone else to partner with, I'll just be the money guy. And so that's, again, another reason why I started this podcast, because my mind's going in a million different places, and I can't be the only one. That's impossible. So if I can get a knowledge from a little bit of everybody and figure out what they did wrong and right, I'll be able to grow, expand.
Right.
Yeah. Well, man, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I always have two questions at the end of my interviews. One fun one and one a little bit serious, but I'm big into exotics. Apparently you're big into exotics. If you've got one, let's hear it. If not, what's on the bucket list?
All right, so right now I have an Audi R8 and a Jaguar F-Type, an M5. I got a Raptor. I have too many cars. I've had an Aston Martin. I've had a Lamborghini. The bucket list car that I'm working on is I'm going to own a Pagani.
There we go.
But I got to step up to that level. So the next one's going to probably be a 720S. I'm gonna start there, and then I'm gonna work on the Pagani because it's a jump from
pricey,
hundreds of thousands to multiple millions for the car. But I'm gonna have one.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I just bought a Raptor last week, and I'm like, man, this is kind of cool. It's
they're fun.
Yeah, nicest car I've ever had, but first new car I've ever had, actually. And it took me a long time because I've been making decent money. I'm like, man, I keep putting all the money back in the business, which is smart, but I need to reward myself. And then actually Todd talked me into it, basically, because he's out shopping Ferraris right now, and he's already got his McLaren. And I'm like, man, I need to go buy something somewhat cool because I've been working hard and I ain't even been buying anything for myself.
Yeah, well, and if you do it right, you're not losing money. You know what I mean? When you're buying the right cars the right way, you're losing, but you're not losing the same. If you buy a Kia, that money's just gone. You bought.
Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
So if you're buying something that's something valuable, like it'll hold its value better, you're only losing a little bit per month instead of all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. In 2 years, my Raptor, instead of being new 75, it'll be worth 65 in a year or 2 years.
Right. And then you basically drove it for $500 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. And then my last question, it's a little more serious, but if you had 6 months to live, what do you think you'd do with it?
I would take my kids to some foreign countries. I've never been one to any foreign country myself, but they're getting right to the age where they don't have any preconceived bias against these places. They can literally take them in as a wonderful, amazing thing that they are. Yeah. So I'd want to experience that with them before I was gone. So I would take them to, to Italy and to France and everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere I could in that time span, I would make it happen to where I could watch them realize how amazing the world is instead of just the little bubble we're in now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's one of my biggest pushes right now. I just now started vacationing a lot this year, and down to the Caribbean, Mexico a bunch of times. And then in July, I went to Peru for 2 weeks, and we did a motorcycle trip around the Andes, but we stopped through all these villages, and you wouldn't believe how happy everybody is to be wearing their sandals when it's snowing outside. I'm like, this is crazy. People are so happy for the very little they have compared to America. And the guy that hosted the trip has a charity foundation down there where he, takes in abused and neglected children and stuff. And so we're going to bring the girls down there. We're going to go read them books, play soccer with them, build little houses for them and stuff. So that's one of my big things right now is is giving back for everything that I've achieved myself, but experiencing those things with the kids, because it's powerful. I mean, you get it into them young, they'll forever be grateful for the things they have.
Right.
But that's awesome, man. Well, you should get out and travel more.
Yeah, well, I'm starting, like, I grew up in Idaho. I kind of stayed in Idaho area. So I'm starting in the U.S. There's so much to see here. So
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot more here. I'm allowing myself to do more.
Yeah.
And we're traveling more. And we're starting to expand that. Once we've seen kind of, not everything, obviously, but like the big stuff.
Yeah.
Then I'll start expanding out to those other ones. But it doesn't make sense for me to be so close to some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Grand Canyon. I've definitely got to go see that once, even if it's just a big hole in the ground. I got to see it.
Right. I used to live like an hour from it, so I've seen it like a dozen times. Every time some family member comes in, hey, let's go to the Grand Canyon. I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
One more time to go see the big crack. But it is cool. It is cool.
Yeah, well, just for once, I mean, it's silly. I live in California. It's that close, and I've never seen it.
Yeah. You've been out to Yosemite and the, what's the big forest, the Redwood Forest and all that?
Yeah. So I'm doing that stuff. And
that's awesome out there.
I mean, I've been to like Yellowstone when I was a kid and stuff, but I got to start doing that stuff with my kids more. Right. They're city kids, and it drives me crazy. So when I was a kid, I was out in the dirt all the time, and
yeah,
my kids get around some trees and they just get amazed. I'm like, maybe I need to do this more often.
Right? Yeah, yeah. We live in Texas now, and it's boring and flat and no trees and private land everywhere, and so they grew up in Arizona with me, of course, and so in Arizona there's public land everywhere and trees and mountains, and so they miss it. And every time we go somewhere, it's like, oh man, why aren't we back? And so our plan is to leave Texas here in the next year or so. Yeah,
I'm leaving California just for business, 99% business related stuff.
Yeah,
like taxes wise and stuff. It's horrible.
Right.
I'm not sure where to go because I want to. If I'm going to move and take that amount of time to move out of state, I got to pick the right states where there's all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but we're planning on getting out.
Yeah, perfect, man. Well, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. I've been to like 40 of the states so far, most of the national parks. And if I could figure out a way to move to Canada without my ex-wife losing her mind, I'd move to Canada because it's freaking beautiful up there in British Columbia.
And my dad lives up in Alaska, so
that's awesome.
Yeah. It is to visit. I don't know if I want to live there.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one, I think, but it'd be cool. It'd be real cool.
When he sends you pictures of where a bear broke into his cabin, you're like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, it'd be cool though. You know, take a picture from afar in the truck or something and ready to go, put it in drive, and yeah, you don't need no grizzly chasing you down. Those things are fast.
Right.
But well, all right, man. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience and your growth and everything. And if anybody has any questions, how can they find you? Facebook?
You can find me on Facebook. You find me more just my car stuff on Instagram. It's Busterberg. And I'm starting a little bit on YouTube, just experimenting with it. Mm-hmm. It's not that great yet, so be kind on your comments if you go there. It's all Busterberg for everything. Facebook's just Dustin Lloyd.
Okay. Busterberg?
Busterburg.
Berg.
But one day I'm gonna own a city and I'm gonna rename it Busterberg.
That'll work. Where'd that come from?
The name Buster started a long time ago in locksmith stuff. I was on Bluetooth and someone's like, and what's your name? And I was like, Dustin. And they're all, Buster? I'm like, sure. And my friend just happened to be in the car and thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So I just got that name. And as I started, growing as an entrepreneur and in business, I'm like, I'm going to own a city one day. Mm-hmm. And then my friend was always back east, and it's like Pittsburgh. Everything's a burg. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just going to be Busterberg.
Yeah, that works. Perfect, man.
Makes no sense, but it's stuck. So that's what it is.
The strangest things stick sometimes, man. Yeah. Well, cool. Again, appreciate it. I'll link everything in the description how to contact you if they have any questions about what you're doing, and or if anybody wants to partner up on new business ventures, they can reach out to you. So I appreciate it, man. All right.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot.